Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with the 1973 Renault Alpine A110 1600S. Now at 715 horsepower, 466 pounds-feet of torque from a 2.3 litre turbocharged inline 4 engine, and the car itself weighs 1,609 pounds. It now has all-wheel drive, off-road tyres and off-road suspension, and it can do 0 to 60 in 2.757 seconds, 0 to 105.807 seconds, and going to a top speed of 215 miles an hour. So yeah, this could easily be one of the fastest cars we've had on this series so far, purely because it is really rather lightweight. Granted, it doesn't have the most power we've ever had on a series on a car in this series so far, which might harm it, but I feel like the lack of weight will aid it on that. All comes down to whether or not it's going to be controllable or not, because lack of weight can obviously throw a car around quite a fair bit. But if it's controllable and yeah, we can use all of that power and get some good speed, then we should hopefully be one of the fastest cars we've had on the series. Now, this car was a rally car back in its day, but obviously we're dealing with far more power and all-wheel drive kind of things it wasn't meant to have even in a rally version, so don't know how it's going to really deal with that, but quite frankly, on the look of what it's been able to deal with so far and how it's dealing with things so far, doing alright so far, that's for sure. Certainly really rather controllable. Get up to some good speed there. I've hit a couple of walls, but hopefully that won't slow us down too much. Really dealing with the all-wheel drive system fairly well. There's no real understeer going on. It's probably the best run we've ever had out of that part. And 180 mile an hour across the finish line, which isn't quite enough to get us into the top position, but at 2 minutes 5 seconds .986, that is our 5th fastest time, beating the Ram 2500 Power Wagon, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, Vauxhall Insignia VXR, and the likes of the Volkswagen Baja Bug, Can-Am Maverick, Ariel Nomad, and Porsche 959 rally car. And it's not all that far off the Opel Manta 400, which I guess you could say is the same kind of car as this, as that was also rear-wheel drive in stock form, really rather quite lightweight, and didn't have all that much power in terms of stock. So yeah, kind of similar to the Opel Manta, even though obviously that is a newer car than this. And yeah, not all that far off, cars that did have all-wheel drive standard, like the Land Rover Range Rover, Subaru WRX rally car, and the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk, which still persists in first place. And this was only a couple of seconds or so off that Jeep, which again had far more power than this, and also had all-wheel drive standard, and obviously was an SUV in stock form as well. So yeah, I'm really impressed by this, considering it's joint oldest should I say, in the top 5. Being from 1973 like the Land Rover. So yeah, fairly impressed by it, to be honest. It had plenty of speed. I think that's easily the fastest we've been across the finish line at 180. And yeah, the only real issue was my driving in parts, really. Hitting a couple of walls. Everything else was really rather well. Didn't feel like it had even had all-wheel drive, to be honest, when going around corners. And more than capable of dealing with all that extra power, as it only had about 123, I think, originally. So yeah, to ask it to deal with 715 horsepower in the way it did, which was really rather well, is mightily impressive. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.